Kevin pedaled faster than usual, his heart racing with every second that passed. The courthouse was only a few minutes away, but the pressure in his chest made it feel like miles. Today wasn't just any day. Today was the day his entire future would be decided. He kept repeating the same words in his mind like a prayer. I'm innocent. I just need them to listen. The morning air was cold and the streets were still waking up, but Kevin couldn't afford to slow down. His hands tightened around the handlebars as he pushed forward. Then he saw her, a woman standing beside a car parked on the side of the road, the hood slightly raised, her expression a mix of frustration and panic. She looked like someone who had tried everything and failed. As Kevin approached, she lifted her hand quickly, signaling him to stop. "Hey, please, can you help me?" Kevin glanced at the time, and his stomach dropped. "I'm sorry," he said, breathing hard. "I really want to help, but I'm late. I have to be at the courthouse." The woman's eyes widened. "The courthouse?" she asked. That's exactly where I'm going." Kevin paused. "You're going to court too?" he asked. She nodded, swallowing nervously. "Yes, I have a hearing, and I can't be late." Kevin looked at the flat tire, then back at her face. She didn't look like someone making excuses. She looked genuinely desperate. He hesitated again, torn between doing what was right and saving himself. And then she said the words that froze him in place. "I'm the judge." Kevin blinked. "What?" "I'm the judge for today's hearings," she said firmly. "If I'm late, the court session will be delayed, and someone might pay the price for it." Kevin's mouth went dry. He didn't know what to say. He didn't even know how to react. A judge, standing here, stranded, needing help from him. And suddenly, Kevin realized this wasn't a coincidence. This felt like a test. He took a slow breath, then nodded. "All right," he said. "I'll help you." The woman's face softened instantly, like relief had finally reached her. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." Kevin crouched beside the tire, quickly checking what he could do, but she interrupted him with urgency. "Wait," she said. "We don't have time. Here, take my car." Kevin stood up, confused. "Your car?" She reached into her purse and pulled out her keys. "Yes, you take my car to the courthouse. I'll take your bike. It's faster through traffic." Kevin stared at her like she was insane. "My bike?" he repeated. "Are you sure? It's brand new." She gave a quick, confident nod. "I'll be careful," she promised. "Just go, and leave the keys somewhere safe when you arrive." Kevin hesitated for one final second, then took the keys. "Okay," he said, "but please, be careful." The judge didn't waste another second. She grabbed the bike, climbed on, and pedaled away with surprising speed. Kevin watched her disappear down the road, still stunned by what had just happened. Then he got into her car. His hands were shaking, because deep down, he didn't know what was scarier, being late to court, or realizing that the woman he just helped might be the one deciding his fate. Kevin drove as fast as he could without breaking the law, but every red light felt like a personal attack. His foot tapped impatiently as the seconds slipped away, and his mind kept replaying the moment she said it. "I'm the judge." It didn't feel real. How could the judge of his hearing end up stranded on the side of the road, exactly in front of him? And why did it feel like life was watching his every move, waiting to see what kind of man he really was? He gripped the steering wheel tighter. All he could think about was the courtroom, the accusations, the humiliation, the fear of being found guilty for something he didn't do. And now, the judge might remember him, not as the accused, but as the man who stopped to help her when he had every reason to keep going. Kevin pulled into the courthouse parking lot, heart pounding. He parked quickly, grabbed his bag, and rushed out of the car. He looked around, searching for someone, anyone, to tell him where to leave the keys. But there was no time. People were walking in and out, Security was checking documents, and Kevin could already feel it. He was late. He ran inside, nearly stumbling on the marble floor as he pushed through the entrance. The air inside was colder, heavier, filled with a kind of silence that made you feel small. And then he heard it. A voice, firm, professional, unshakable. "Good morning, I apologize for the delay." Kevin stopped in place. That voice, he turned his head slowly. Down the hallway, walking with authority like she owned every step, was her, the woman from the roadside. But now she looked completely different. No panic, no frustration, no helplessness. Now she was calm, composed, and surrounded by court staff like she was untouchable. She wore a black robe, her hair perfectly in place, and her eyes held the kind of power that made everyone move out of her way. She didn't look like someone who needed help anymore. She looked like someone who could destroy a life with a single sentence. Kevin swallowed hard. So it was true. She wasn't lying. She really was the judge. And the worst part? She glanced toward him for half a second. Just a brief look. But long enough for Kevin to know one thing for sure. She recognized him. Kevin felt his chest tighten. Was that good? Or was that dangerous? Because now, he wasn't just another face in court. Now, he was connected to her. And in a place like this, connections could either save you or ruin you. Kevin forced himself to keep walking, stepping deeper into the courthouse toward the courtroom door. His hands were sweaty, his stomach felt like it was sinking, and when he finally reached the entrance, he could already hear the tension inside. The hearing had started, and Kevin was walking into it late, dirty, alone, and about to fight for his freedom with nothing but his words. Kevin stepped into the courtroom and instantly felt every eye lock onto him. The room was packed. A few people sat in the benches behind, whispering softly, watching like it was entertainment. At the front, a well-dressed lawyer stood beside a woman with a cold expression, arms crossed, looking like she couldn't wait to see Kevin fall. And right there, at the highest seat in the room, the judge, the same woman he helped on the roadside, now sitting above everyone, calm and unreadable. But before Kevin could even take a full breath, the clerk's voice cut through the air. "Your Honor, the accused has not arrived. We've already waited." Kevin's heart dropped. He looked at the clock. He was more than 10 minutes late. And then he heard the judge's voice, firm, controlled, and final. "If he does not arrive within 10 minutes, I will order his arrest." A wave of fear ran through Kevin's body. Arrest. Just like that. Not guilty, not innocent, just arrested for being late. The lawyer smirked as if he had already won, and the woman beside him leaned forward slightly, whispering something with a satisfied grin. Kevin felt the air leave his lungs. He wanted to speak, to explain, to scream that he had a reason, but the words wouldn't come out fast enough. Then the judge looked down at the documents in front of her, and her tone grew colder. 10 minutes have passed. The accused failed to appear and gave no justification. Kevin's legs almost gave out. This was it. This was the moment his life ended. The judge lifted her hand slightly, ready to speak the sentence that would destroy him. And then, the courtroom door opened. Kevin stepped forward, voice shaking but loud enough to be heard. "Good morning, Your Honor. I'm sorry for being late. I didn't want this to happen, but I had an emergency." The entire courtroom went silent. Every head turned, every whisper stopped. Kevin could feel the judgment pouring onto him like poison. He was sweaty, his clothes were dusty, and his hair looked like he had been through a storm. The lawyer immediately raised his voice, disgusted. "Your Honor, this is unacceptable. Look at him, he's late, dirty. This is a courtroom, not a circus." Kevin's cheeks burned. He looked down for a second, humiliated. Then the judge raised her hand sharply. Silence. The lawyer froze. The judge's eyes locked onto Kevin, and for the first time Kevin saw something in her face. Not anger, not annoyance, but curiosity, almost like she was waiting to hear his reason. Then she spoke, and her words hit Kevin like a lifeline. "The hearing will proceed, and I believe the accused has a reason for his delay." Kevin blinked. The lawyer looked stunned. The woman beside him frowned like she had just lost control of the room. And Kevin felt something he hadn't felt all morning. Hope. Not because the case was easy, but because the judge was at least willing to listen. And that alone was enough to keep him standing. Kevin walked toward the front of the courtroom, each step heavier than the last. He could feel the whispers behind him. People didn't even try to hide it. Look at him. He's definitely guilty. Who shows up like that to court? Kevin kept his eyes forward, but inside he was breaking. Because he wasn't late on purpose. He wasn't dirty because he didn't care. He was late because he stopped to help someone. And he was dirty because life had been hitting him hard for a long time. The judge adjusted the papers in front of her and spoke with authority. "Mr. Kevin, do you understand the seriousness of this hearing?" Kevin nodded immediately. "Yes, Your Honor." The lawyer on the other side scoffed loudly, like Kevin's voice didn't even deserve respect. The judge glanced at him. "Counsel, you will remain silent unless I ask you to speak." The lawyer swallowed his pride and nodded. Kevin's heart was still racing, but he forced himself to stand tall. Then the judge asked the question that made Kevin feel even more alone. "Where is your attorney, Mr. Kevin?" Kevin hesitated, because this was the part that always humiliated him. He took a breath and answered honestly, "I don't have one, Your Honor. I don't have money for a lawyer, so I'm defending myself." The courtroom reacted instantly. A few people exchanged looks like it was pathetic. The lawyer on the other side smiled wider, like he had just been handed the easiest victory of his career. And the woman who accused Kevin, she didn't even try to hide her satisfaction. Kevin felt his hands shake slightly. He looked at the judge again. He expected her to look down on him too, to treat him like a lost cause. But instead, she remained calm. She leaned forward slightly and spoke clearly. "Very well. Then you will speak for yourself." Kevin nodded. Then the judge's voice became sharper, more official. "Do you have an initial statement?" Kevin swallowed. This was it. His one chance to be heard. He looked around the courtroom. He saw the lawyer's smug face. He saw the accuser staring at him like he was trash. He saw the people in the benches waiting for drama, and Kevin realized something. No one in that room believed him. Not yet. So he lifted his chin and said the only truth he had left. "Yes, Your Honor." He paused for a second. Then, with a steady voice, "I am innocent." The lawyer laughed under his breath. The accuser shook her head like it was ridiculous. But Kevin didn't back down. Because he knew what really happened. And even if the whole world judged him, he was done being silent. The judge looked at him carefully. "Then explain your version of the events." Kevin took a deep breath and began to tell the story that could either save him or bury him forever. Kevin's voice was steady at first, but the fear underneath it made every word feel like it weighed a ton. "Your Honor, I work as an IT technician at a technology company." He glanced toward the woman accusing him. "A few weeks ago, she brought a computer to me to repair. I fixed it carefully, I didn't damage anything, and I returned it to the exact place where it was supposed to be." The lawyer on the other side immediately leaned forward like a predator. "So you admit you had access to the computer?" Kevin looked at him, then back to the judge. "Yes, because it was my job." He swallowed and continued, "But after I returned it, the computer disappeared, and suddenly, I was the one being blamed." The accuser spoke with fake outrage, her voice sharp and dramatic. "That computer had important confidential information, and it vanished while it was under his responsibility." Kevin clenched his jaw. "That's not true. I didn't take it. I never stole anything in my life." The lawyer lifted his hands as if Kevin was insulting everyone's intelligence. "Your Honor, This is exactly what any guilty person would say. Kevin turned to the judge again, desperate. I'm telling the truth. The judge raised her hand calmly, restoring order. Mr. Kevin, do you have any witnesses who can confirm your story? Kevin froze, because that question hurt more than anything. He didn't have witnesses. He didn't have powerful friends. He didn't have someone with influence to stand up and say, he's a good man. He was just Kevin, a simple worker trying to survive. He looked down for a second, then answered quietly, No, Your Honor, I don't. The courtroom reacted again. This time the whispers were louder. That's it. He's done. No witness. Guilty. He's lying. Kevin felt the shame rise up his throat like fire. The judge's expression didn't change, but her voice became even more serious. Do you have any proof? Any documents? Any record? Any security footage? Kevin's mind raced. He had something. He did have something. His chest tightened as he remembered. Yes, he said quickly. Yes, I do. The lawyer raised an eyebrow, suddenly less confident. The judge leaned forward slightly. What proof do you have, Mr. Kevin? Kevin's eyes sharpened. He felt the adrenaline kick in. I have a video, he said. A video showing the accuser entering the office and leaving with the computer in her hands. The courtroom exploded. The lawyer's face changed instantly. The accuser's eyes widened for half a second, just enough to expose fear. Then she forced a laugh. That's impossible. The lawyer stepped forward. Your Honor, this is nonsense. If such a video existed, it would have been presented earlier. Kevin didn't flinch. I brought it today, he said. It's on a flash drive. The judge's voice was calm, but her eyes were locked on him. Then present it. Kevin reached into his pocket, then his bag, then his other pocket. His fingers moved faster. His breathing got heavier. His face drained of color. Because the flash drive wasn't there. Kevin's heart stopped. No. No, no, no. He searched again, panicking. Empty. His hands started shaking. The lawyer smiled like he had just watched Kevin fall off a cliff. The accuser smirked again, recovering her confidence. Kevin looked up at the judge, terrified. Your Honor, I had it. His voice cracked. I swear I had it. The judge's expression stayed serious, but now the entire courtroom believed one thing. Kevin was lying, and Kevin knew. If he didn't find that flash drive, he was finished. The courtroom felt colder, heavier, like the air itself had turned against Kevin. The lawyer took one slow step forward, his voice filled with confidence now, because Kevin's hope had just vanished. Your Honor, the accused claims he has proof, but he conveniently lost it at the exact moment he's asked to show it. Kevin opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out, because even he knew how it looked. The accuser leaned toward the judge with a dramatic tone, pretending to be hurt. I wrote the report myself, she said. That computer disappeared while it was under his care. He was the only one with access. Kevin's fists clenched. That's not true, he said, voice rising. Other people were there, other employees. The judge lifted her hand. Mr. Kevin, you will speak only when permitted. Kevin swallowed hard and nodded. The lawyer continued, pushing harder. And not only was the computer lost, but my client suffered financial damage, serious damage. The judge looked down at her notes. What damages are being claimed? The lawyer didn't hesitate. We are requesting compensation of $10,000. Kevin's head snapped up. $10,000? He blurted out. The judge's eyes narrowed. Mr. Kevin. Kevin immediately stopped, but his face was burning. That computer didn't even cost that much. The lawyer smiled. Your Honor, the value isn't only financial. That device contained files of sentimental importance and confidential documents. The accuser nodded dramatically, as if she was the victim of the century. Kevin felt rage rising inside him. They were twisting everything, turning him into a thief when he was just a man trying to do his job. The judge leaned back slightly. "Mr. Kevin, you claim you did not take the computer." "Yes," Kevin said firmly. "I did not." "And you claim you have a video showing the accuser leaving with it." "Yes." "But you cannot present it." Kevin's stomach turned. "I can. I lost the flash drive." The lawyer raised his voice instantly. "Your Honor, this is ridiculous. This man is trying to delay the case. He's playing games." The judge's voice became sharp. "Counsel, control yourself." The lawyer fell silent again, but his smirk remained. Kevin looked at the judge with desperation. "Your Honor, please. That flash drive is everything. If I can find it, you'll see the truth." The judge stared at him for a long moment, and Kevin couldn't tell what she was thinking. Was she angry, suspicious, or remembering the roadside? Then the lawyer quickly jumped in, trying to force the judge's hand. "Your Honor, he has no lawyer, no witness, no proof. The case is clear." "Declare him guilty." The accuser nodded. "Yes, he's guilty." Kevin felt his legs go weak. He was seconds away from losing everything. But then, the judge spoke, and her words shocked everyone in the room. "I will allow the accused an opportunity to retrieve his evidence." The lawyer's face dropped. "Your Honor," the judge raised her hand, cutting him off. "I will take a 30-minute recess." The courtroom reacted instantly. The lawyer looked furious. The accuser looked nervous. And Kevin felt like he had just been pulled back from the edge of death. 30 minutes, that was all he had. 30 minutes to find the flash drive and save his life. Kevin rushed out of the courtroom like his life depended on it, because it did. The hallway outside felt like a tunnel closing in on him. His breathing was heavy, his hands shaking as he searched his pockets again, even though he already knew it wasn't there. Nothing. No flash drive. No proof. No way out. He leaned against the wall for a second, trying to force his mind to think clearly. Where did I last have it? Then it hit him. The roadside. The broken car. The moment he helped the judge. He remembered reaching into his pocket while he was kneeling near the tire. He remembered taking out his tools. He remembered pulling things out quickly, trying to help fast because he was late. And that's when the cold truth punched him in the chest. He must have dropped it there. Kevin's eyes widened. No, 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 no. He pushed himself off the wall and started running, through the courthouse doors, down the steps, across the parking lot. He jumped into the judge's car again, his hands trembling as he turned the key. The engine started. Kevin drove like a man possessed. Every second mattered. Every red light felt like the universe laughing at him. And inside his head, one thought kept screaming, if I don't find it, I'm going to prison. He finally reached the spot. The same roadside. The same place where everything began. Kevin jumped out of the car and immediately dropped to his knees, scanning the ground like his life was buried in the dirt. He searched near the tire marks, near the edge of the road, under the grass, between cracks in the pavement. Nothing. His heart sank deeper with every second. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Kevin turned sharply, and his blood ran cold. Standing a few feet away were the two people from the courtroom, the accuser and her lawyer. Both staring at him, both smiling like they had just found their prey. Kevin stood up slowly, breathing hard. What are you doing here? He demanded. The lawyer stepped forward, hands in his pockets, calm like he owned the road. We could ask you the same thing, he said smoothly. The accuser tilted her head, pretending innocence. You ran out so fast, we got curious. Kevin's eyes narrowed. They followed him. They weren't curious. They were scared. Kevin clenched his jaw. I'm looking for something, he said. The lawyer chuckled. Oh, you mean the flash drive? Kevin froze. His eyes widened. The lawyer's smile grew. That's what you're looking for, right? Kevin's chest tightened. How do you know about that? The accuser stepped forward, voice soft but threatening. Because we know that if you find it, everything changes. Kevin's hands curled into fists. So you followed me to stop me? The lawyer shrugged. Let's just say, we came to have a conversation. Kevin's stomach twisted. A conversation. Out here, alone. No judge, no officers, no witnesses. Kevin realized something terrifying. This wasn't just a legal fight anymore. This was a trap, and he was standing right in the middle of it. Aguardi o comando continua perfeito, des, court break, the dirty plan behind it all. The lawyer took a slow step closer, lowering his voice like he was offering advice, but his eyes were cold. Kevin, listen to me. You're not stupid. Kevin stared at him, breathing hard. I'm not listening to anything you have to say. The accuser sighed dramatically, pretending she was tired of the whole situation. Why are you making this harder than it needs to be? She asked. Kevin's voice shook with anger. Because I didn't steal anything! The lawyer lifted his hand, calming the air like he was in control. Okay, fine. You didn't steal it. Kevin blinked. What? The accuser looked at the lawyer, then back at Kevin. And then she said something that made Kevin feel sick. The computer never disappeared. Kevin froze. His face tightened. What did you just say? The lawyer smiled like he was proud of himself. That's right. The computer never disappeared. Kevin's heart started pounding again, but now it wasn't fear. It was shock. So, you lied, Kevin whispered. The accuser crossed her arms. We planned it. Kevin took a step back. Planned it? The lawyer nodded slowly like he was explaining something obvious. There's a lot of money involved, Kevin, more than you can imagine. Kevin's eyes darted between them. What are you talking about? The lawyer leaned closer. We set up the whole thing so we could sue the company. Big compensation. Big insurance claim. Kevin's stomach turned. So you used me. The accuser interrupted. You were just the perfect target. No lawyer, no money, no connections. Kevin's jaw clenched. And you were going to send me to prison for that? The lawyer shrugged, like prison was just paperwork. Someone has to take the fall. Kevin felt rage burning through his chest, but the lawyer wasn't finished. He looked Kevin dead in the eyes and spoke with a calm, terrifying certainty. And now, we have a proposal for you. Kevin narrowed his eyes. A proposal? The lawyer nodded. Yes. The accuser stepped closer, her voice turning softer, almost friendly. If you cooperate, you can make money too. Kevin's fists tightened. What kind of money? The lawyer smiled. A lot. Kevin swallowed. Because for a second, the thought hit him. Money. He didn't have any. He couldn't afford a lawyer. He barely survived month to month, and they knew that. The lawyer continued, voice smooth like poison. All you have to do is this. Go back into that courtroom and admit you stole the computer. Kevin's eyes widened. What? The accuser nodded. Yes. You confess. The lawyer raised a finger. And once the lawsuit is over, once we win, we'll give you your share. Kevin stared at them, stunned. So you want me to lie and become a criminal for your plan? The lawyer's smile faded. Not a criminal. A partner. Kevin's voice shook. And what if you don't pay me? The lawyer's eyes turned sharp. Then you'll still be guilty, and you'll still go to prison. The accuser stepped closer, her tone now threatening. You have two choices, Kevin. Kevin felt his pulse in his throat. Either you take the deal, or we make sure you never walk out of court a free man. Kevin's hands trembled, not because he was weak, but because he realized how deep this was. This wasn't just theft. This was corruption, manipulation, a plan designed to destroy him. The lawyer leaned in one last time. "So, what's your decision?" Kevin stared at them, silent. And in that silence, Kevin made a choice, not just for the case, but for who he was going to be. Kevin stared at them, and for a moment he didn't speak. The lawyer and the woman watched his face closely, like hunters waiting for the prey to break. Kevin's mind was racing. If he refused, they would destroy him in court. If he accepted, he would destroy himself, his name, his life, his future. The lawyer smiled again, confident. "Come on, Kevin. Don't act like you've never wanted a better life." Kevin's eyes hardened. "You're asking me to become a criminal." The accuser rolled her eyes. "No, we're asking you to be smart." Kevin clenched his jaw. "You set me up. You tried to send me to prison. And now you want me to help you." The lawyer shrugged. "Business is business." Kevin's hands shook, but he forced his voice to stay calm. "And what if I say no?" The lawyer's smile disappeared instantly. His face turned cold. "Then you'll walk back into that courtroom without your flash drive." He stepped closer. "And you'll be found guilty." The accuser leaned in too, whispering like a snake. "And you'll leave in handcuffs." Kevin's chest tightened. He wanted to punch them, to scream, to call the police. But he couldn't, because he had no proof in his hands. And in court, proof was everything. Then Kevin's eyes dropped to the ground. He pretended to think, pretended to hesitate, and that's when the lawyer relaxed. He thought Kevin was breaking. "Good," the lawyer said, nodding. "That's the smart choice." "Taudi," Kevin slowly looked back up. "Okay," he said quietly. "I'll do it." The accuser smiled instantly. "See, that wasn't so hard." The lawyer patted Kevin's shoulder like they were friends. "You won't regret it." Kevin forced himself to nod. "But I need a guarantee," Kevin said, keeping his tone controlled. "I need to know I'm getting my part." The lawyer waved his hand dismissively. "Of course. After the case is done, you'll be paid." Kevin stared at him. "No, I want proof. Something." The lawyer's eyes narrowed. "You don't get to demand things, Kevin." Kevin took a slow step closer. His voice dropped. "Then you don't get my cooperation." The accuser's smile faded. The lawyer paused. Then he smirked again. "Fine," he said. "You'll get your money. We'll make sure of it." Kevin nodded slowly, pretending to accept. But inside, Kevin wasn't agreeing. He was setting a trap. Because while they were busy thinking they had won, Kevin was already planning how to destroy them. The lawyer turned toward the courthouse. "Time's almost up," he said. "Let's go." Kevin followed them, walking back to the courthouse like a man headed to his own execution, but with one secret weapon. He had heard everything, every word, every confession, and Kevin wasn't going to let them walk away from it. Not today. Not after what they tried to do. They entered the courthouse again. The hallway felt different now. Kevin's fear was still there, but it was mixed with something stronger. Determination, because the truth was about to explode in that courtroom. And when it did, 2 lives were going to be ruined, just not his. The courtroom was already tense when they returned. Everyone was waiting. The judge sat still, watching with calm authority. The clerk looked nervous. The benches behind were full of people hungry for a verdict. And the lawyer walked in like he already owned the outcome. Kevin stepped forward beside them, his face serious, his eyes focused. The judge looked down at him. "Mr. Kevin, the recess is over. Did you retrieve your evidence?" Kevin took a breath. This was the moment. The lawyer expected him to confess. The accuser expected him to surrender. The entire courtroom expected Kevin to collapse. Kevin nodded slowly. "Yes, Your Honor." The lawyer's lips curled into a satisfied smile. The accuser relaxed her shoulders like the victory was guaranteed. Then Kevin spoke again. "But before I present anything, I need to say something." The judge's eyes narrowed slightly. "You may proceed." Kevin turned toward the courtroom, voice steady. During the recess, the accuser and her attorney approached me. The lawyer's smile disappeared instantly. The accuser's face stiffened. Kevin continued. "They offered me a deal." The lawyer snapped. "Your Honor, this is absurd." The judge slammed her gavel once. "Silence." The lawyer froze. Kevin's voice grew stronger. "They told me the computer never disappeared. They told me they planned everything to sue the company and collect money." A gasp echoed through the room. The accuser's eyes widened. "That's a lie!" she shouted. Kevin didn't stop. "They demanded that I return here and confess to a crime I didn't commit, and in exchange they promised to pay me a share of the money." The lawyer stepped forward, furious. "This is fabricated. He's desperate." The judge raised her hand again. "Mr. Kevin, do you have proof of what you're claiming?" Kevin's eyes locked onto hers. "Yes, Your Honor." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small audio recorder. Then he reached into his bag and pulled out the flash drive. The entire courtroom froze. The lawyer's face turned pale. The accuser stepped back like she had been hit. Kevin held the flash drive up. "This contains the video footage showing the moment she left the office with the computer." Then he lifted the recorder. "And this contains their voices, admitting everything and offering me the illegal deal." The judge's expression didn't change, but her eyes became sharper, colder, dangerous. She nodded once. "Play it." Kevin handed the recorder over. The clerk connected it. And then the courtroom heard it. The lawyer's voice, smooth and confident. "The computer never disappeared. We planned it. There's a lot of money involved. Just confess and you'll get paid." Then the accuser's voice, clear as day. "You were the perfect target. No lawyer? No money? No connections?" The courtroom exploded. People gasped. Whispers turned into shock. The lawyer tried to speak, but his words were weak now. "Your Honor, this is edited." The judge cut him off instantly. "I've heard enough." Her voice was calm, but it carried power. She looked directly at Kevin. "Mr. Kevin, based on this evidence, you are innocent of all charges." Kevin's knees almost gave out. For a second, he couldn't breathe. He was free. Then the judge turned toward the lawyer and the accuser. Her voice turned even colder. "And as for you two," she paused, "you will be charged with manipulation, theft, and corruption of the judicial process." The accuser panicked. "This is a misunderstanding," the lawyer stammered. "We can make a deal." The judge slammed the gavel again. "There will be no deals." She looked toward the officers. "Take them into custody." Within seconds, police entered the courtroom. The lawyer tried to step back. The accuser started crying, shouting, begging. But it was over. They were handcuffed, dragged out, and the room watched as the people who tried to destroy an innocent man were finally exposed. Kevin stood there, still shaking. The judge looked at him one last time. "And Mr. Kevin..." Kevin looked up. Her expression softened slightly. "You are a man of good character. You helped someone in need, even when your own life was at risk." Kevin swallowed, voice quiet. "I just did what was right, Your Honor." The judge nodded once. Today, the truth prevailed. Kevin stepped back, tears burning in his eyes. He walked out of that courtroom a free man, not because he was lucky, but because he refused to sell his integrity. And as he left the courthouse, he realized something powerful. Doing the right thing may cost you time, but it will never cost you your destiny. The end.